All right, picking the action up now. We're up here getting, well, we're having some great visits, as a matter of fact. But Haley Deegan joining us from Monster Truck, a little NASCAR action as well. And she is the big sis of Hayden Deegan we saw out there just a few moments ago. So we'll be talking with her about the great accomplishments that she's making in her racing and driving career as we check in with the senior 40-plus class in the 51 of Scott Davis from Lincoln, California, grabbing the early lead in this one. Scott Davis, as we scan the results from Moto 1, took a 15th place finish out there the first time. So obviously looking for redemption, grabbing gears up through that whole shot and taking over, well, the whole shot award. We'll see whether or not it paid any dividends for him in the early part of the week. It didn't seem to pay a lot of dividends, but since we began these second motos and yesterday's racing on Wednesday, the face of that really seemed to change a whole lot. We started seeing guys that were getting the whole shot award credit were also hanging on to the lead through the bigger part, if not the entire first laps of racing. Wrapping up lap number 1 now as the 51 machine still holding on to that lead. Scott Davis. Davis, though, has got a host of company back there in the second, third, and fourth place positions. They come in the way of the 21 machine of Jimmy Jarrett, who took second in Moto number 1. He is stalking his prey back there from the second place position to kick things off. Chris Kiefer back in the number 3 position. Frenchie Greg Paymart back in the number 4 spot. Ben Graves, the 26, is 5th. Mike Treadwell, the brawler himself, in 6th. Rob Floth in 7th. Kevin Walker gets a rough start in this one as he is in the 8th place position. Kip Posey in 9th. Jason Thomas in 10th. Christopher McMillan in 11th. John Bolin in 12th aboard the 58. It's Justin McCloskey, the 41, in 13th. David Nichols in 14th. Barry Costin in 15th aboard the 31. Jeremiah Tees, however you say that. I don't know if it's spelled Theys, but I believe it may be a Tees. The 17 of Chad Kokenauer, the 46 and 17th. The 18th place spot, the 13 of Gabe Goldardo, 19th Donald Leedy, and rounding out the top 20 to the max, Jimmy Max there on the number 99 Suzuki. Hey, there, we just gave some accolades to this young lady. I look around, and there she is with a headset on. Say good morning to Haley Deegan. Haley, welcome to Loretta Lynn's. I know this is a place you've probably spent a lot of time growing up through the years, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I've come out here. It's a very family-based event, and so me and my family were always coming out here to support my little brother racing. But with my racing picking up and everything, and me being in the stock car world now, and that racing being almost every single weekend, I don't really get the chance to go as many races as I used to. So I actually had a race this last weekend, and I have a race this weekend coming up. And I decided yesterday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake up and head out at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm going to go watch Hayden's race, because I was planning on coming. I was like thought about coming today, but I was like, he races in the morning. I'm just I'm just going to get up and go.
There you go.
So we head out this morning, and we drove here and ended up just getting here 20 minutes before his moto.
Wow.
We timed it perfect, and so it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I got to watch him race, and I've been watching all his races online since I haven't been able to be here, since I had stuff to get done in North Carolina, but I just love supporting him. He's so badass on a dirt bike.
You're absolutely right.
It comes so natural. That's the thing. It almost makes me mad because everything comes so natural for him. I'm like, why can't it just come natural for me? I'm like, you don't have to work for it as much as I do.
Rodney, she's killing me. You beat me to the punch, Haley, because, you know, we all know Danger Boy. We know the boys. We know what's going on. But the bottom line is you're a badass.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, how many people would like to be in your shoes?
I have watched you since you were a kid, just mainly because you're dad, and watch the development and say, oh, here we go. You know, let me tell you something, kid. When you were out there, when you were busting Kurt Leduc around, when you taught Bryce Menzies what time it was, okay, that was amazing. And your attitude was just so level-headed the whole time. But holy cow, Rodney, I don't know if you got to watch much of that stuff or not. When this young lady started ripping fenders off of trucks, hey, there was no looking back.
Yeah, off-road racing, dirt racing is where my heart's always been. It's where I feel comfortable. It's where my home has been, and I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. Stock car racing now, and it's been a different different thing to learn, a new challenge, and it's been difficult. It's hard.
How did you get into the stock car world? I mean, your dad, I mean, obviously he's a big name across the industries, period, in motorsports, but I mean, he comes from a motorcycling background. He comes from a freestyle motorcycling background. How did you get into the NASCAR and things of that nature?
Yeah, so my dad's pretty much fully invested himself into every aspect of motorsports, pretty much except stock car racing. So that's like one aspect. I feel like our family, we've always made this family vibe of hitting every single like base in motorsports, and I think that's one thing that like he wasn't able to hit in motorsports, and so I'm like, okay, I'll cover that base, and it just makes our social media stronger, our family stronger, and it makes it just a cool dynamic that not many people get to see, is that having a family that's successful in different types of motorsports, not just one.
Yeah, and it's amazing the diversity. I mean, from the racing end of it, your little brother, you, and the cars and trucks and things of that nature. So you do NASCAR and monster truck stuff? Is that
so I do the NASCAR stuff it's in the ARCA series, and then I also race off-road trucks in the Lucas Oil.
Oh, that right there is some cool stuff right there. That I mean, which do you like better?
So I grew up off-road racing. That's where I feel comfortable, no pressure. Stock car racing's like head down, buckle down, focus, like a lot of pressure, but it's still fun. I love it. I love all of it.
It's almost like motocross racing with a cage and like 400 horsepower. Hey, that's you with President Trump right there.
So it's funny how that happened, because I heard a rumor. I was at Lisa Kennedy France's house, who's one of the big people of NASCAR that runs it.
Right.
And we were over there for like, it was a little get together that they were having there. And I remember hearing someone say like, oh, did you know like the president's coming to the race? And I was like, I didn't know that. And so I went to the guy that runs Daytona Speedway, and I'm close with him. So I knew him pretty well enough to go up to him and be like, yo, is Trump coming to the race? If so, like, I want to meet him. And so I went up to him, said that, and he's like, there's a bunch of information that I had to like write down, like citizenship, social security, like everything, just because like
had to be checked. Your background check, real quick background check.
Yeah.
How cool was the first lady? How cool was Melania?
Cool, both of them.
I'll bet.
Really cool.
He's the
they're
man.
Really tall.
Okay, right. Oh, no doubt.
Short. I know I'm short, but they're really tall people. But it was cool because I wanted to get my helmet signed, and I made a tweet because I didn't really know if I was going to be able to meet him, and then I made a tweet in the morning because the guy at Daytona is so busy, and I know he's not just focused on one driver that races in the ARC series. So I think that I ended up making a tweet in the morning. I was like, my goal for today is to get my helmet signed by Trump. And I made that a tweet, and then all of a sudden Donald Trump Jr. ended up responding to it, DM'd me, and was like, yo, let's set something up. And so we ended up setting it up. I got my helmet signed, which they had to take my helmet in the morning, go through security with my helmet that I just raced with the night before, and then I ended up getting to meet him and get it signed and everything.
I bet that's in a glass case on a shelf somewhere.
You want to really know where it's at? I race it at the dirt track. I race it every week.
On that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because like it's my comfortable helmet. I've wore it so much that like it's like molded to my face perfect. And I have new helmets, but I'm like, but this one's so comfortable. And so I always go back to it. Next thing you know, it's fully covered in mud. And I'm like, I probably shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like cleaning it, picking it out and everything.
But the president's riding with you.
I know, exactly.
All the time.
Exactly.
Hey, speaking of riding, let's check in with this senior 40-plus class. Don't go anywhere. Haley adds Chris Kiefer, Gregory Paymart, Mike Treadwell now up to third. Jimmy Jarrett drops from second to fourth place position. Karsten outside the top 10 at about 15th place position on lap number 1 is up to fifth now. Rob Floth in sixth, Kip Posey in seventh. Ben Graves in the number 8 spot. 9th place Scott Davis. Chris McMillan rounding out the top 10. And many folks may be wondering where Kevin Walker is. He finished 6th in Moto number 1, had a great 50-plus motos. There's no doubt about it. Looks like some struggles for the 85 here in Moto number 2 as we scan the results down through for this one now. He's all the way back in 24th place position. So there you go. So anyway, Kiefer, Paymart, Treadwell, Jarrett, Karsten, Floth, Posey, Graves, Davis, McMillan. Now Jason Thomas in 11th, David Nichols in 12th, Donald Letty in 13th, Jeremiah Days in 14th, Justin McCloskey in 15th, Chad Kuchenauer in 16th, Philip Hayes in 17th, Scott Metz in 18th, James Max in 19th, Jeremy Tiffany rounding out the top 20. So, man, again, I mean, not only did you have the great opportunity to get into these types of sports, but you've excelled. What do you think has been the secret and the key to be able to do the things that you have been able to, not only to do them, but to do them as successful as you've been able to do them at?
I think my dad, seeing him in the motorsports world and seeing him make the transition from going from supercross to freestyle motocross and then all of a sudden to off-road racing, rally cars.
Were you, as a child, did you get to see your dad actually as a racer and everything?
Right when he made the transition to freestyle motocross, that's when I was around.
Exactly.
So I didn't get to see the supercross. I got to watch videos, but just to see enough of how much he's changed over the years and his work ethic. That's one thing that he's tried to instill in all of us kids, is that we need to have work ethic. If you want something, you got to go get it. You got to work for it. It's not going to come easy. There's a reason why. If no one else has done something, there's a reason why. But just because someone hasn't done it doesn't mean it's not possible.
Right. And I got to appreciate, it's hard to open up your personal life. It's hard to do the things that your family does with the videos and stuff on YouTube. I think that is great. It is so neat to be able to look into that. What we see on there, is that the real thing? There's no acting. That is the way life is at the Deegan.
That's one thing I love about my social media and our family social media, is that we're real. We tell it how it is, and that's the thing I don't like about a lot of other racers' social media, is they have some PR person doing it. It's so by the book, it's so generic, plain, and it's just boring.
Well, the Deegans have never been by the book. Okay,
no.
I will tell you that.
I think you learned that from day one.
And when you say work ethic, look, I was there. I'm 53 years old. I saw everything your dad did was a fan. We're similar age, okay? And I respected your dad at that time. Your dad did a lot with a lot less than some guys had.
Yeah.
Your dad put in more work. Your dad wanted to stick it to a factory.
Yeah.
Okay? Your dad wanted to show everybody that maybe turned him down or doubted him that he had what it took, that he could more than bring it. And he did that at everything he ever tried. And when you talk about your work ethic, I want you to know that it is genuine. I'm sure you do. But that guy put in the work no matter what he did, no matter what level. And as he transitioned from motocross to freestyle into trucks, man, it just intensified every time because he had a new point to prove. He had a new audience that he had to prove something to. He had new sponsors, new competitors.
New challenges.
Oh, absolutely. And your dad was always able to do that. And let me tell you something. You're the future. You're not the future of women's racing. You're not the future of this. You're the future of racing, period. And like I said, as you can tell, I've watched you. You can tell. What is the true feeling, though, getting on that pavement? What is...
When you go to the bigger tracks, it's a little bit sketchy.
Gotta be.
Like, just how much the air impacts everything. And when things happen, you don't even realize what happened. Like, say you get in a wreck or something, it already happened. It's over with before you even realize, like, what even happened. And it's a crazy feeling that's so fast-paced.
So what's the fastest you've ever driven?
I think it's like 190-ish.
Did I catch a niner in there?
Yeah. It's like give or take 5 there, but that's at like Daytona, Talladega, those type tracks, the super speedways.
Wow.
What do you attribute? Most people cannot make the transition. Ricky Carmichael tried to do this stuff, okay? Travis Pastrana tried to do this stuff. What one talent, what one instinct do you have? What trait is it that you have, Haley, that's made you so successful in making that transition? Nobody's been able to do it as quick and as easily and successfully as you have. I
think it was my foundation in car racing. I had a long-standing foundation in off-road racing, which was super aggressive. You were constantly, it was just 110% the whole time. There was no pacing yourself. There was nothing like that. It was all out for as many laps as it was in the race, and you pretty much just gave it your all every single time you hit the track. And that's something that I used to make the transition over to stock car racing, but I almost had to like tone it down a little bit because I overdrive the car, I get a little too aggressive and those things. But I've had those traits instilled in me my whole racing career, so it's hard to change those.
So goals, what are the goals here?
Man, I got my this year goals, I got my 3-year goals, 5-year goals. Obviously, at the end of the day, my main goal is to end up racing and being successful in the Cup Series, being one of those people who runs up front every single race, one of those people that has the target on their back. That's what I want to be.
Biggest win, favorite win?
Biggest win?
Anything, off-road, whatever. Biggest win, favorite win. What is it?
I think, okay, so the biggest win would be my first NASCAR win, which was in 2018, my first year racing stock cars. And it's towards the end of the season. And then my favorite win was the dirt track in the stock car. That was just because I think I had so much pressure on me because it's like, oh, you came from dirt racing, you have to win the dirt race. And it's still, no matter if it's dirt racing, it's still very pavementized.
Right.
So it was still difficult. Like, it wasn't easy at all. Like, I had to come through the pack to win, but winning that race, it was like pressure was just automatic relief. And everyone was there, everyone saw it, and it's just a cool feeling.
Wow.
That's got to be incredible. That horsepower, the glassy surface.
It's just all blue group.
on that edge. And it's as you know, the balance is incredible. I mean, just one small mistake, and you go over, you not only bring it, you take this big win, and then that's her favorite, in the dirt.
You know, the thing that I think impresses me most about you, about your little brothers, about your dad, how grounded you guys are and how normal. I mean, really, I mean, you can walk up and talk to your dad and in a normal conversation, and it's like talking to Magawa or anybody else. I mean, if you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't know who he was. You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy, really. I mean, and that's cool. That really is.
Yeah, I feel like definitely my dad has instilled the real, genuine people kind of feeling into us, and that's something that it happened like just being a kid, being around cameras and stuff, and just being yourself. And like, you could have a conversation on the camera and you could have the exact same conversation to another person in real life. Like, it's something that has to be brought up with you when you're younger. And I think that Hayden's really good at it. Even Hudson's really good at it. Like, exactly how he acts on camera is how he acts in real life. Not saying he's the most behaved kid, but like, it's real.
He's ornery, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Haley, it has been great talking to you. You're welcome to stick around. I got to step out. Chris Kiefer is getting ready to step on over to the podium here in just a couple moments as he wraps up lap number 8 here. So a couple laps left to go. If the 2-lap board isn't out, yep, 2-lap board is out, I'm headed down.
And newsflash, Rodney, Weege tells us Kiefer changed nothing on the bike. I thought we were going to change spokes, change air in the tires, change grips, knowing Kiefer, you know, some unobtainium spring on this thing or something, you know. But changed absolutely nothing on that bike, which I found to be incredible.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much, Haley.
Big downgrade. We go from Haley Deegan to me. Big downgrade. Thank you, Haley. Chris Kiefer wants to change something every time he rides the dirt bike, but his crew said, do not change. Don't change anything. You won the first moto.
Carbon fiber valve stem?
He wants to. He said, the first moto, he said he was going to change bars and a couple other things, and they're like, no, you can't win the moto and then change bars. Stop testing.
Right.
This is not a test, it's a race.
I asked him on the starting line, I said, Chris, you win the first moto. Is there more pressure or less? Because now you know you have the speed, but are you more afraid now of blowing it? And he's like, oh, there's more pressure now.
Sure.
Because now I know all I can do is blow it now.
Right, yeah.
All I can do is blow it.
When you're on the top, only one way to go, Weege.
If you're 2 seconds a lap faster than everybody and you don't win the title, you are going to be so mad.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you know what? We won't let him live it down either. So, simple as that.
Hey, thanks to Haley Deegan for hanging out with us in the tower.
Yeah.
Got to talk to him a little bit down on the podium there with Hayden winning the moto. That's good stuff. They are actually both this sport and NASCAR. They're helping guide us in so many ways.
Right.
Yes.
So we're glad to have them on board. And I always say the fundamentals, they're known for the flash and the marketing and how visible they are. But the fundamentals as racers, if that's not there, the whole thing collapses. So shout out to them for doing a good job at the part that's most important.
Exactly, most definitely. Continuing to roll through lap number 9, white flag out, Chris Kiefer, Greg Paymart, Jimmy Jarrett in the...
Jimmy Jarrett in that number 3 ride. Mike Treadwell, the Tread. Treadwell, I believe, outside the top 10 at the beginning of this one, and Treadwell bringing himself up into that number 4 ride. That number 4 ride. Barry Carson now sits in 5th. Barry having a few issues mid-moto, and Rob Floth now in that number 6 position. Kip Posey coming up to the 7 ride, while Ben Graves in 8th, Christopher McNeil in 9th, and Scott Davis in 10th. And Rodney, I just can't express enough. You know, Haley coming up here and taking that time with us. You know, I know our plus 40 motos going on out here, but just such an incredible young woman.
Yes.
As a child racing go-karts and this and that, but became a young woman at pre-teenage in front of cameras, or grew up in front of us, and not an easy thing to do. But how grounded and well-rounded is this young lady. Just absolutely incredible.
She's very talented. There's no doubt about that, to do the things that she's doing, and that's being done on her own accolades, obviously. But wow, just how well-grounded the whole family really seems to be. Like I said, their dad, just an amazing individual to be able to talk to. And
and how much does she love Hayden and Hudson?
Oh, you can tell.
Those are her boys. Those are her little brothers, bro. You better believe it.
The family bond is there. There is no doubt.
Feel it.
Yeah, you do.
As she talks about him, she smiles. She glowed talking about Hudson and being ornery. I mean, that's her little brother.
That's her baby brother, no doubt about it. Hey, Senior 40 Plus, last lap of racing. Kiefer, Paymart, Jimmy, Jarrett. Jarrett putting himself in a pretty decent position, but Kiefer taking that Moto 1 win is certainly going to make it tough for anybody else to take this championship. Barry Karsten finishing third in Moto 1, currently running in the number 5 spot. Paymart, who had a good first moto going, but I think the wheels kind of fell off for him in that first moto, and didn't get the finish that he was looking for. Actually, he finished 40th in Moto number 1, so this is kind of a redemption situation for him to be able to finish up a second place position there.
And another thing about Paymart, he's a favorite in the Loretta Lynn's Kennel Club Dog Show with a win last year, with a class win last year.
He is, or his dog is?
Both. As a matter of fact, the dog has him trained pretty well. He followed directions well.
I can see that.
He followed directions well. The dog led, and Paymart, the only one of these riders out here so far in contention for two championships right now.
Okay. Greg Kiefer, Greg Paymart, Jimmy Jarrett checking in at third, Mike Treadwell in fourth, Barry Karsten will round out the top 5, and Jason Wygant is hanging out at the podium.
Podiums on the same weekend?
Moto is next.
Yeah.
Yep, we got it.
Here. Yeah. Leave the house there.
Hello. Hey, Weege.
All right, I guess it's time. I'm sorry, the 40-plus class, there's too many people to bench race with. I can't stop talking, but I guess I should talk to the guy that won the Moto. 2 for 2, Chris Kiefer. All right, Kiefer, there's only one strategy left. Don't blow it. You didn't blow it so far.
No, I don't think I'll blow it. I was, look, I'm not going to lie. I'm tired from the week. I haven't even did nothing, but I've been keeping up with my kid, and I'm tired. So I think it's almost beneficial just for me to race more.
Okay.
I'm less tired when I race, but, man, sitting around all day and then hopping in, it's tough. And this track is tricky already.
Now, we heard, you told me you did not make bike changes. You actually resisted that.
Yeah, I got a talking to by a couple people, and they said, hey, man, just leave everything alone. Don't screw with it. You can go back to your job on Monday.
Yes.
Leave everything here this week. So, yeah, it's been a great weekend so far, and I'm having a blast. And first time here for my family staying the week, and so happy for my kid. That's why I'm here, and I love him so much. He's such a good kid, and it's fun to be around him.
Yeah. All right, thanks to people.
So I would like to thank my wife, my kid, obviously Yamaha for building a great bike. I had a lot of choices, and there's a lot of great bikes out there, but I chose the Yamaha this year, and I can ride within my means, and it works good that way. Obviously, I want to thank Steve Mathis for bringing me on Pulp MX. I left Dirt Rider a few years ago, and I get to be myself at Pulp and started KieferInkTesting.com. And man, it's a fun freaking job to do, to ride dirt bikes for a living. And when I was little, I thought making it was being a factory rider. But to me, making it is getting to do what you love to do and making some money for it and having a bitchin' family. So,
Woo, well said. Let's hear it for Chris Kiefer. Become an inspiration, Kiefer. Unbelievable. All right, let's bring up our second place finisher. Second. All right, familiar faces and familiar names when you get to the 40-plus class here at Loretta's. Let's hear it for Greg Paymart here, taking second. We had to change it up from years past. We got to come into the front now. Grab this.
Yeah,
yes, that's yours. There you go. Yep. Hey, how'd your race go, Greg?
Oh, pretty good, man. You know, first off, what a relief, guys, to be here all together at a race. I mean, it's been a long year for everybody. A lot of question marks everywhere, and now we're battling on the track. So super happy about seeing you guys and able to battle up here.
Awesome. All right, Frenchie, who do you want to thank?
Well, you know, I had a great race. I almost didn't have the first moto. I sabotaged my bikes. I started switching fuel before the last minute, and it backfired on me, literally. So I had a 40th gate pick. I hold it wide, like my buddy Johnny Myers always say, fourth wide, you know, around the first turn, and it kind of worked, you know. I was like, oh, I'm in the game, you know, and keeping pace, try to keep on that blue bike. But you know, this place is different, man. If you start charging too hard, you're bouncing everywhere. So I just told myself what I tell my kids, you know. I say, hey, you know, ride smooth, you know, keep your line precise, and I start getting into a groove. So it was good, man. Couldn't be here without Crossroad Power Sport up in PA. Been riding for them for 15 years. You know, all our friends here, you know, FMF, Scott Goggles, we have FX Air here. They've been awesome support and friends. You know, Power Seals, FMF, I said, who else I forget, Johnny? MKS, my company, of course. I always put myself last, you know, come check me out on Van's Row. I make sneakers and footwears and socks. Been doing it for a few years. So, and everybody I forget, you know, it feels good to be on the podium after I finished 40th, man. I was a little sour, to be honest, but great race.
All right, it's the man we call Frenchie. Let's hear it for Greg Paymart, second place.
And if somebody doesn't understand what I said, we'll have a translation later.
I got that one, Frenchie.
All right, we got one more down here, and I think we got a women's class coming up next. That was good stuff. Thank you, Greg. This guy's in title contention because he's got 2 podiums in 2 motos, a second and now a third. Multi-time Grand National Cross Country Race winner. Let's hear it for Jimmy Jarrett. I know I said this after Moto 1, but did you expect to come out here and maybe win a title?
Well, if Kiefer would slow down a little bit, maybe, yeah. But, you know, that guy's riding good, and I have my hands full with the guys around me, so we got one more moto to go. If I can just hang on and do what I'm doing, I'll be happy.
Okay. Who do you want to thank, Jimmy?
Definitely Kawasaki and Team Green, Carl Cycle, Fly Racing, 100% goggles, Pro Circuit, Dunlop Tires. Those guys are awesome.
All right,
Thank
Jimmy
you.
Jarrett, everybody, third place.